If you're talking about a specific person, there's George Hamilton.
No.
Do you guys remember George Hamilton? He was known for tanning, and I think he's actually still alive.
No, I'm talking about like
very
beauty queen.
Because that's my thing. When people
beauty pageant.
Oh, you're a pageant
person.
Beauty pageant.
Because I look great.
You did.
And I say did. Not currently. Now I looked a little
wonky.
Yeah.
Wonky.
Where does that word come from?
Ooh, let's find out.
I'm kind of worried to look it up because it's probably going to be like some super
Urban Dictionary
racist thing. And then
no, it's going to be the Jibberwock.
I've looked up wonky, and it sent me to a wonky star quilt pattern.
Thank you, random old lady that opened a wonky star quilt pattern.
Wonky is informal for crooked, off-center, askew.
It's formal.
It's wobbly.
Oh.
It's slang for stupid, boring, or unattractive.
Hey, Jake, did you remember the game that you made way, way back? The Wibble and the Wobbles or whatever it was?
Squibble and the Squeebles?
Yeah, that too.
Yes, I do. I still have it.
It's a great game.
It was. It got me third place in Utah's competition for video game making. It was great.
Every once in a while, when I listen to Elton John's Your Song, I think of Jake's song that you made because for some odd reason it was called Your Song in our computer.
Oh, I know, just because I didn't ever rename it.
Yeah.
I used GarageBand.
And so it was Your Song, and then when I heard Elton John's Your Song, it made no sense to me. I was like, oh, he ripped off Jake. And then I realized it was a totally different song.
I didn't rip off Elton John.
He ripped off Jake.
GarageBand ripped off Elton John.
True.
So wonky shares the same etymological root as the word wench and wink. How fun is that?
That's really interesting.
It has an unknown origin.
A wonky wench that is winking at you
is a crooked, crooked,
same.
and crooked, crooked.
Pretty much.
A crooked crook that crooked.
That was good, Josh.
Thank you.
Should we get started?
Heaven help us.
Welcome, everyone, to the Twaddling Along Podcast. I am your host, Dan McBride, here with my brothers and co-host, Joshua, who just took a sip of Mountain Dew.
I knew you were going to do that, you bum. Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
doing good.
And Jake, who is not taking a sip of Mountain Dew.
I foresaw this coming, and I still don't know what to say.
It's been a little while
Yes?
since we did an introduction of ourselves.
Oh, no.
Because... yeah, and what this podcast is. So I'm just going to do a brief one.
Oh, you're doing it for us?
Well, people have probably, if they're listening to us, they're probably thinking to themselves, where the heck did the word twaddle come from?
It's how we walk.
It was actually Jake's idea.
Oh.
And what does twaddling mean, Jake?
I forgot.
To talk or write in a trivial or foolish way.
Oh, that's right. I was smart.
It's
You were
waddling
smart.
for the tall.
It's waddling.
Some of the other words we were looking at were not very appropriate.
Yes, we started going, oh, we can't use that one. Oh, we can't use that one. Hey, twaddling works. Really, the whole idea behind twaddling is not taking yourself all too seriously, especially when you're having good conversation. I think nowadays people take themselves so seriously about every single topic in conversation that it's kind of driving the world a little batty. So
Wait, this isn't a serious podcast?
this is not.
Oh my gosh. I should not turn these into like the Harvard school to put in the...
I didn't know that Harvard School was accepting middle tier podcasts.
Hey, as educational material, absolutely.
What not to say about history? Let's watch.
What?
Do you guys know how many episodes this is?
Is this our 50th episode?
Not even close.
Oh, okay.
This is our 28th episode.
Oh.
Hey, it's actually, that's not too bad.
We're getting close.
Do you know what else is 28?
Our year is actually coming up fairly quickly.
Was it September?
It was in September. So
Do you realize what else is 28?
what else is 28?
Me.
Joshua is
This
28.
is my birthday podcast. Everyone celebrate.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That is the most.
Yeah, we haven't reached your guys' birthday ones yet because you're old.
That's okay.
I'm all sad now.
Danny's is a long ways away.
It is a long
That's probably next year.
No, it's just 10. episodes. I just burped. Like I had a hiccup and a burp at the same time.
Do you realize that's
Danny
4
just
thought I
months
was
away?
having a heart
4
attack.
months. That means it's 4 months away.
It is 4 months away. Wow. And it's going to be a human condition one if I'm doing my calculations right.
I have no idea.
So, oh no, that's not true. I think it will be a history one. We'll do the history of me on the 30.
History of Dan. Dan started out as... No, I'm just kidding.
But today, this is the start again of our trio. We try to organize all of our episodes into one of 3 categories. The first being history, the second being the paranormal, and the third being the human condition. Well, we've started back up again after a week's hiatus, and we are on history. And I thought it would be fun to kind of mix a couple things together, because this topic is very historical, but it's also got a little touch of paranormal.
Yeah, we need to make a shout out before then.
Who are we shouting out to?
We're shouting out who gave us this topic.
And who gave us this topic, Josh?
Gage.
It was Gage. Thanks, Gage.
Thanks, Gage.
I'm glad you guys knew, because I was like, it'd be kind of embarrassing if we didn't remember.
Shout out to Gage.
Yes.
My
and
homeboy from the South.
Which brings up the point that if anybody has any kind of episode ideas, we do take them seriously. We do look into them.
Even though
And
this
we
isn't a serious podcast.
We are trying to get to all of them eventually. And the reason that we started with Nostradamus is it kind of fits into this historical genre, but it also kind of goes into the paranormal and even the human condition.
Oh,
It's true.
It is true.
That means we can do less
What are you
history
doing
and
with
more
your
other
mic
stuff.
over there?
I'm moving it around because people can hear me breathing.
You mean you don't like being next to her? Okay.
No, and I feel like I'm breathing through my mouth, which is really
I
annoying.
do try to edit out a lot of the breathing
Oh,
noises.
thank goodness.
Sorry,
everyone.
I had to climb from the first floor in my office building to the 4th floor.
Oh, poor baby.
Wait. I got to the very top, walked through the door, went to go talk with someone, and it was very humorous, I'm sure, for them, because I walked in and went, and then I couldn't get my breath back.
Hey,
You just collapse on the floor.
I had to. The power went out in my building. The elevators went down. I'm on the 21st floor.
Right.
I had to walk down 21 flights of stairs.
So the thing is but you were walking down.
Yeah,
That is
my
significantly
freaking
easier than-
calves were dead for a week.
Haven't you seen the stuff where you're supposed to slide down on the rail until
just
you
keep
hit
going.
something?
Here's the problem. There's a hole in the middle. I would fall backwards and whee!
Hey, you'd be down really quick.
Yes, you would.
Yep.
And your wife would be very wealthy.
Yeah, she would. I have a pretty good life. And
Well, we're talking about something today that brings up death. It brings up prognostication, prophecy,
Prognostication.
seer.
everyone, that is not a sexual term.
It is not. No, Joshua. It is not a sexual
Josh, we
term.
didn't even make it 10
Oh,
minutes in.
Good heavens,
Hey,
Josh.
we were introducing. I just want to point out that this
We're
is
talking-
also a therapy session for me, and I just say what comes to mind.
That's very true. He does. There is
Often
no.
inappropriately.
There is no censoring this kid.
Ready?
This week, guys, we're talking about Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
I didn't see that coming.
But he did.
Did he?
Ooh.
Dun dun dun. What do you guys know about Nostradamus?
All I could say is I looked up Nostradamus and immediately I came up with like thousands of predictions about what's going to happen this year, mostly from people that are not Nostradamus.
It drives me nuts. I've compiled a list
Ooh, exciting.
of some of the potential Nostradamus predictions that came true, if you believe in that sort of thing. I also made AI write some Nostradamus.
That's a little wonky.
Oh, wench. Okay. So, Nostradamus was born Michel de Nostradam. He's actually a French dude.
Oh my gosh. Is he related to the Notre Dame?
What did you just say? Related.
Sorry, I was trying to get my French on, and it didn't come out right.
You were drunk. It's fine.
As a matter of fact,
Notre Dame.
it is related to Nostradamus or Notre Dame or Notre Dame.
What?
Yeah. Nostradam means Our Lady.
So he's a lady?
No.
Oh.
So his family, and this is kind of interesting, about a generation or two before he was born, his family is actually Jewish. And I think it was his great-grandfather actually kind converted to Catholicism because there was something going on back then called the Spanish Inquisition.
And for those of you who don't know,
That's history. We don't want to talk about it.
we don't want to talk about that
The
ever.
Spanish Inquisition.
Let's just say a lot of people died.
And during the Spanish Inquisition, there was a lot of hating on people that were non-Catholics, especially the Jews. And so his great-grandfather, seeing kind of this happening, said, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to convert to Catholicism, and took on the name of Nostradamus, or Our Lady, which was kind of common in the day. I guess whenever anybody converted over to Catholicism, they would take kind of a saint name or the in this case, the name of Mary, which was kind of where Notre Dame came from too. So there you go.
You learn something new every day.
You absolutely do.
So, France.
He's French.
He is France.
And
sorry.
he is French.
I'm sorry. I just looked up
Wait.
Notre Dame.
Let's just repeat that. He's French?
He is France.
Oh, okay.
I just looked up Notre Dame, and it brought up, oh my crap, Notre Dame. And it said the Fighting Irish football team, 1842 Catholic University. What world do we live in now?
Not a good one. I don't know.
I was looking at the cathedral.
I live on Earth.
So Nostradamus entered the University of Avignon. He was actually studying just to receive kind of a general education. That's grammar, rhetoric, and logic. It was kind of common back in those days. You would go into school and you would study Greek, you would study Latin. This was kind of in the beginnings, actually kind of the middle part of the Renaissance. And so there was a lot of focus on the classics. So he would learn botany. He would learn
Did you say he went to a university called Abaddon?
Avignon.
Avignon.
Oh, I was about to be
In
Abaddon.
French, it's Avignon.
I say Abaddon is a place of destruction or underworld abode for lost.
Well, it's
Souls.
funny that you say that because he couldn't actually finish school because what happened?
The
plague.
The plague.
He was a plague doctor.
He was a plague botanist.
He wore that funky mask.
Yeah. That funky. What funky
What
mask
are
you talking
you?
about?
I'm a botanist of the plague.
Well, there's a reason that I say that, and that is because he actually did want to become a doctor. And so between when the school closed down and shut down and him starting to become a doctor, he learned a lot about botany. He learned a lot about what was at the time like alchemy. He was kind of delving into what they called the mystic arts at that time, what we would consider kind of more occult teachings now.
Interesting.
And so when he started the school to be a doctor, he was actually kicked out because the guy who was the head of the school at the time said, we don't want any of that like mumbo jumbo, like folk magic things coming in here. And so he really was actually on his way to be a doctor, and he was on his way to be a doctor at one of the most prestigious schools ever.
And he was actually, so something that I found out is he was actually driven from a few towns because people believed he had some sort of magic.
Oh, yeah.
But in reality, he was practicing what we call cleanliness. He would wash things and do that, which was way before that was ever popular, and that's why people were being healed because their house was clean, everything was clean, so there were no rats.
Sure.
And so they kicked him out of towns because he would bring like healing and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny when you actually read about like during that time. So he would be what we would consider now to be a unlicensed pharmacist. So he ran an apothecary.
So a drug dealer.
So yes, kind of. He was a drug dealer, and he made a lot of money actually doing something that's called the rose pill. So he would take rose petals, he would boil them down to where it was like rose syrup, put it in a pill form, and give it to people. And he straight up said, "Oh yeah, this will cure you of the plague." Mm-hmm. Where the reality is probably closer to what Josh was just saying, where he was more saying, "Oh, you know." To take this pill, you have to be in a essence of cleanliness. You have to bathe, and then you may take the pill. And so it probably had nothing to do with the pill. It was just that he just happened to be kind of a clean freak.
So
and
he
trialing
was
everybody, but
he was like one of the first snake oil
100%.
sellers.
100%. That is his entire life. not to give away too much of it, but Nostradamus was kind of a crafty fella. Because one of the other things that interested me when I started reading about this, and it was kind of driving me nuts a little bit, was this was the penultimate era of religious discrimination from the Catholic Church to the entire European continent. This is when you had witchcraft, burnings. You had, like I said, the Spanish Inquisition. This was during the time of the Protestant uprising. All these things were going on, and they were like taking people out left and right. Anything that they could consider to be heresy, they would they'd take you and they'd behead you, or they'd burn you at the stake, or they would torture you until, your limbs fell off, and these absolutely horrible things. And yet, when I started looking into it, and I looked really deeply, the only time that Nostradamus ever got in a little bit of trouble was because he forgot to ask permission of the local bishop to write a book. Other than that, they didn't consider what he was doing to be like heretical. And what's funny is, like, nowadays, that would be the complete opposite. If you had a crazy guy that was making up like predictions left and right, the very first thing that you would be talking about is, oh, this guy has lost his mind. He is in heresy.
But let's talk about the reason why that probably was the case, because he had a funder.
A funder.
Someone who funded him and probably put some hefty coins in his pockets.
She sure did.
Pocketsees. Name the book.
Are you trying to, bring a little Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit into this?
Yep. It was about the same time. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Only off by like 400 years is fine.
And who was it, Josh?
Catherine de Medici.
The Medicis keep popping up. We've had the Medicis pop up a couple times already. We had the Medicis. I'm sorry, I'm coughing over here. The Medicis pop up.
Danny needs his rose pill.
I do.
Go wash yourself in the River Jordan.
Done. In the River Jordan. No, so the Medicis pop up all over the time. For everyone out there that doesn't know what we're even talking about, the Medici family was a very powerful Florentinian Italian family. They were early bankers, and they amassed a great amount of wealth, and they kind of spread this wealth all throughout Europe. By the time Catherine de Medici was around, she was the orphaned child of the Medici family. She was practically raised by a pope because her uncle, who was also a Medici, was the pope at the time. And she was married off to who would become the king of France. And she had 3 of her children became French royalty. So 3 of her sons actually became the king of France.
Yeah, they kind of funded the Renaissance.
They really did. In a very, very real sense. I mean, when we talk about Michelangelo, when we talk about Leonardo, when we talk about Raphael, all of those people were funded through the Medicis. And so they're kind of this weird family that keeps popping up all over the place, and they definitely pop up when it comes to Nostradamus, because old Catherine de Medici, she was a lunatic.
So for any Nostradamus...
Gemini says that is a stigmatizing statement, that I called her a lunatic.
I was like, wait, I'm hearing voices.
Well,
sorry
I think
about
we've
that,
learned our
Gemini.
lesson.
I apologize. So you really can't talk about Nostradamus without talking a little bit about Catherine de Medici. We're not going to go too far into her, but pretty much she was super into all of the occultisms. She carried around talismans. She had seeing mirrors. She had orbs. She had all the witchy things that you could possibly think of.
Yeah, she's considered to modern day scholars Wiccan.
She really is.
So even though she was Catholic, because most royalty in Europe were at the time, she was practicing a lot of mysticism that wouldn't have been kosher.
A lot of mysticism. And she actually came to find Nostradamus because eventually old Nostradamus, and remember, we haven't actually called him his right name, Michel de Nostradamus, eventually decided that he was going to dip his hand into a little bit of writing. And what he did is he made an almanac. Now,
For all those farmers out there, not that almanac,
But kind of that almanac.
but kind of.
Yeah, like his writings absolutely did have like some of those kind of those writings, like let's predict what the weather is going to do next year so you can plant your crops.
Yeah, depending on astrological,
Yes.
astronomy, different things like that.
And see, and this is where I don't want to say the hypocrisy of the ancient Catholic Church comes about, but it kind of does. They didn't consider what Nostradamus was doing to be heretical. They thought, well, he's not really talking to the spirits. He's not making deals with the devil. All he's doing is looking at the stars and making predictions. So we're just going to let him be. And as a matter of fact, we're even going to fund him. We're going to have our local bishops kind of give him money so he can continue writing these almanacs. So, which is crazy.
Just a little.
Yeah. So he got deep into the occultism. Deep. He wrote his first book mainly from what are called French quatrains. Now, quatrains is just a little poem. You guys
Like
want an
this.
example of a poem? Oh, go ahead.
Jake loves to bake cake, and Josh loves to be posh. Danny is a fanny.
That's very good. Now, we can never show this podcast to our great British people because fanny means something else over there.
It means
No, he became a professional astrologer. And he really, what's funny is he kind of just borrowed things. So
What?
we
No.
we were talking about that on the way here.
No, Danny. He was an inspiration for his time.
No.
He was a
just-
scam artist.
All his followers who I watched the documentaries, several different documentaries on him just to kind of see. There's a lot of people out there that like it was like his eyes could see through everyone. In fact, there was multiple accounts of when they would come and see him, he would see everything about them and they knew it. He became very intimidating. And I looked through like other writings and I'm like, I don't see anything about that there.
No, not a
He
darn
bowed
thing.
to a friar, a monk. What? And that monk became the Pope.
Whoa.
I know.
Nostradamus.
Because he knew.
And it so happened to be a Medici.
I mean, there was a lot of... It was really interesting because a lot of that stuff, like if you actually read the writings, it's like there's not actually accounts that are like justly written. It's a lot of the folklore that's come out of it. So.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, he was popular during his time, but it was more... I told Danny that he was Mark Twain of the 16th century, and here's the reason why.
Offends me.
Is literally, he was famous because of his writings.
Yeah.
And he was basically a star, which I think encouraged him to continue writing. I don't think he was making these as a prophetic thing. I think he was just writing poems, basically.
What? Joshua. No, that's
No,
not right.
100%. And then what's funny is that like during that time, there were a lot of people who kind of were picking up on his trick. So here's a couple quotes about him.
Ooh, fun.
Jerk.
Declarations of abuses, ignorance, and seditions of Michael Nostradamus was a whole pamphlet that was sent out to all of Paris, claiming that Nostradamus was nothing more than a trickster and a liar.
By the way, I want to stop you. If you notice, his name when he was born was Nostradamus, and he Latinized his name to make it his pen name.
Yeah.
Literally, so Nostradamus is just the Latin version of Our Lady.
Yeah, to make it seem like he was more mystic. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look at me. I know the Latin text.
To appeal to his Italian friends.
My brothers are very skeptical of things. It's just sad.
It is sad. This is one of my favorite quotes about him. This was in 1558, a anonymous critic calling himself Lord Hercules the Frenchman.
I like that.
Wrote Nostradamus was a certain brainless and lunatic idiot who is shouting nonsense and publishing his prognostications and fantasies on the street, much to the chagrin of all of us.
Facebook? Sorry.
Are you guys ready? This is one of his earliest prophecies. Estant is flud. Er sans de dioré. Flambe is chagal van de grefre. Veel profre coen en de groeven.
And what does that mean?
I have no idea.
I studied French, and I don't even know what you said.
To be honest, I thought it was English, and then I kept reading.
So going back to how he actually wrote, and this is actually something that he did very much on purpose to kind of protect himself from kind of some of the people calling him a faker, is he wrote with deep and sarcastic allegory. I mean, he borrowed things from the Bible. He borrowed things from like early classical like writings.
Some words were French, some were Latin.
Yeah, and then he made it as vague as completely possible so that anybody who could read these little short poems could make up their own prophecy. And when they would come to him and say, Nostradamus, Nostradamus, are you talking about this? He would just kind of scratch his long beard and go, maybe this is what I'm talking about.
I see him sitting in a corner next to a fireplace with a nice pipe and saying,
He became Yoda.
or he became a Minecraft villager.
No, he tricked a lot of people. I mean, he took advantage of a good number of people. I can't tell from my study of Nostradamus if he thought he was actually doing good. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if he knew that he was a trickster or if he literally thought to himself, oh, these words that are coming to my mind must be a prophecy. And I use the word prophecy. He actually hated being called a prophet. Did you guys know that?
What?
In some of his writings, he like straight up said, I don't use the word prophet, don't use the word seer, don't use the word, I am a prognosticator.
Oh.
And remember, everyone, not a sexual term.
He was prognosticating.
He was prognosticating using the stars.
That's really interesting.
Do you guys want to hear some of his famous predictions that they say came true?
Wait, now are these the future ones?
These are ones that they're saying he wrote this and then this happened in history and it could be. I call a big giant load of baloney on most of them.
Because we have to talk about the ones that happened during his time, which is what gave him such a strong name, if you're going to talk about those.
Yeah, and I was going to, but which ones are you talking about?
So I'm talking about Henry.
Yes, King Henry II.
His children.
Yes.
And
Great Fire of London.
Yes.
That came a little bit after.
So there was one other one that he did that was kind of, I can't remember.
Let's read this King Henry one because I think this is very telling of how the human mind works. So his actual prediction was the young lion will overcome the older one on the field of combat in single battle. He will pierce his eye through a golden cage, 2 wounds made one, then he dies a cruel death. Okay, so that is what Nostradamus wrote.
What happened to Henry?
And in the summer of 1559, King Henry II of France, he was the older one, lined up to joust the Comte de Montgomery, who was called the Young Lion, 6 years his junior in the field of combat. They had lions on their shields, so, there's your lions.
What?
And then 2 shards, one went through the eye, he pierced his eye with a gold cage, and one went through the temple, lodged in the king's head. Henry suffered for 10 days, and then he died a cruel death. So this catapulted Nostradamus. I mean, catapulted. Everybody and their dog, not only in France, but in all of Europe, was saying, oh my gosh, among us is this great seer who has written a code to life. The problem, and this is a big problem,
Skip,
is that
he wrote it after it happened.
he didn't, but it was well known at the time that King Henry II liked to joust and that he was really, really, really involved with these combat sports, and he had been hurt multiple times. It doesn't take a lot to think that Nostradamus just took a couple really, really, really vague predictions and put them together into a not very well written poem, and it just so happened to come true.
Yeah, because you can also interpret that as if he watched one jousting event and was like, oh, the underdog beats the big guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't even have to be jousting. I mean, it doesn't actually say jousting. As a matter of fact, on the field of combat in a single battle, that is loosely defined as combat. I mean,
You guys are ruining this for me.
okay, you guys ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
The Great Fire of London.
Great Fire
Here is
of London.
Nostradamus' prediction. The blood of the just will be demanded of London. Burnt by fire in the year 66, the ancient lady will fall from her high place, and many of the same sect will be killed. Well, there was a small fire that was started in the bakery
Mary!
on Pudding Lane in London, September 2nd, 1666, and it turned into a 3-day blaze that consumed the city. Here's the problem. London burned all the time.
Yeah, they sucked at fire
They
department.
burned all the time.
I like to apologize to any British fire department that lived between 1600 and 1700. You guys sucked.
Now, wait, guys.
Tell us.
Catherine asked him to give prophecies about her children.
That's true.
Oh, I did have that. I don't know what I've done with that.
And so he had each of them look in his magical mirror. And in the end, he was able to decipher that only, was it 3, I think, would actually survive by saying, of these 7 branches, only 3 will survive.
Sure. I think that what we see here is exactly what we see even in the modern day age. Anybody who has ever magical mirrors. Anybody who has ever like watched the TV show Mentalist, which is an old TV show, but it's a really good one. I like.
Is it old?
It's pretty old.
Yeah, Jake, it's like almost 20 years old
Yeah.
now.
Mentalist is pretty
man,
darn
that
old.
ages me.
Yeah,
I loved that show when it came
it
out.
was a fantastic show. Our mom hated it.
Yeah.
No, she liked it until the later seasons when the Red, I don't want to say Red Dawn. but-
Red John.
Yeah, Red John became the enemy or whatever.
No, he was the enemy from the get-go. She didn't like that he was so vengeful.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be vengeful too.
Yeah.
But like what the whole point of the TV show is that someone with enough intuition and who knows enough about the human condition can make predictions, can talk with the dead, can do all the funny things, but they're not actually doing it. It's just kind of baloney.
Yeah, it's a parlor trick.
But the magic mirror.
Think about it.
It's the same like with Sherlock Holmes.
Snow White.
Yes.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's going to die?
King Louis the 12th.
All of them are going to die. I need to say that. They're all dead.
Okay.
Dead.
Creepy.
They're all dead.
Do you know who's dead too? Nostradamus.
Yes, he is. Or is he? Dun dun.
No, he died from gout because he was a dirty boy.
No, he didn't. Not because he was a dirty boy. Great gout has nothing to do with it
Died
being
from
a
heart
dirty.
congestion, didn't he?
No, it was gout. He did die from gout because he liked them meats. He ate meats
Oh, I thought
all
you were
the time.
going to say ladies, and I was like,
No,
see, dirty
no,
boy.
no. And he got what is it where your legs swell up super big?
Swelling leg syndrome.
No, it's called something.
That was a really good one, Josh.
Elephant legs.
No, stop it. Shh, quiet.
Let's see what.
Edema.
What?
He got edema.
We weren't even close.
No,
it.
you weren't anywhere close.
That sounds like elephant.
Sloshing leg syndrome.
He got edema, and
Holy
then it got worse and worse and worse, and that
Thunder
eventually led to
thighs.
his death. Oh
That's
my
true.
goodness. But
Did he prophesy his own death?
he did, supposedly.
His last
I
words
die.
were that he was going to die.
You will
the
not
next
find
morn.
me alive at sunrise. I think he probably said that like every night. He's like, "Hey, honey, you're not going to find me alive at sunrise," and she's like, "Oh my gosh."
And that means that we're prophets too, because I say that to my wife every night.
Especially when you're in bed and all of a sudden your left arm goes numb. You're like, it's
This
time.
is it. Here we go.
I look at my arm and I see my fingerprint, and I'm like,
Well,
spells.
there I
And
am.
the heart attack.
Death.
Or you have that little pressure in your chest. You're like, this is it. And then you release either a burp or some gas and you're like, oh, nope, I'm good.
So there are a lot of people out there, as Jake was saying, that are supporters of Nostradamus, even to today. And they take a lot of his, like thousands upon thousands of poems, and they attribute things to like the rise of Napoleon, Adolf Hitler, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, both world wars, the Apollo moon landing, the death of Princess Diana, September 11th. I mean, even if you to go right now, if you look up Nostradamus, just the name Nostradamus, some of the very first hits that you'll get, and I tried this on multiple things, so I know it just wasn't my algorithm, but some of the very first things you hit is 2025 Nostradamus predictions.
Do you know that we're supposed to die this year?
Oh, good.
Mankind's supposed to end. I looked up the predictions.
Well, can't happen soon enough.
Because that's how it is. And then there's like two other like major people that supposedly give predictions too.
Yeah.
Both of them interesting.
So one of my favorite things, and this is something that...
Sorry, keep going.
Care to share?
Go ahead, Josh.
I just read one of his prophecies for 2025, and it's the rise of Aquaman.
Oh, I know. I saw that too.
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
He's going to beat Superman for the first time.
Well, good for him.
I
always knew
mean,
Jason Momoa was going to get somewhere.
hey, no, he's going to be playing the new motorcycle guy in the DC universe.
Skullhead guy?
Yeah, the bounty hunter.
Yeah, it was Nicolas Cage.
Oh, no.
No,
Not that guy?
No.
that's
You're
different.
talking about... hold on.
Oh my gosh. I can't think of the name. He was voiced by the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond in the animated series. Yeah, Lobo.
Yes. I love Lobo. He was hilarious.
They've made supposedly I guess he's going to be playing him, which I think matches.
So here's his two prophecies of 2025.
Oh, I'm excited.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
This is the first one. The kingdom will be marked by wars so cruel, foes from within and without will rise. A great pestilence from the past returns, no enemy more deadly under the skies. And then it goes on. From the cosmos a fireball will rise, a harbinger of fate, the world pleads. Science and fate in cosmic dance, the fate of the earth, a second chance.
Baloney.
And that has to do with 2025.
Baloney.
Yep,
Why?
it's the end of... He said this is one of the only ones that was... He gave a time for. And that last one, the fireball, is the end of the earth. And it's... People believe that science and fate, it's them trying to deploy something to stop a meteor that will destroy Earth.
Oh.
Like the one that's coming in...
Josh can't even remember the
I can't remember when it was.
2032?
No, I think it was 2027.
Here's the other problem with all of these. As we talked about very early on in this podcast, he didn't write straightforward. It wasn't just like all French or all Latin or anything. He had a mixture of all different languages. And so when people translate his work, there is a lot of interpretation. In other words, his that one right there could have had nothing to do with the earth, and he could have been talking about a rose. But someone's like, well, in Latin, sometimes the rose can be interpreted as earth. So I'm going to interpret this as earth, and then put out the predictions, which was a nonstop thing when it came to Nostradamus. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There are some, there are ones that are a little like, whoa, well, that's kind of funky. Where did that one come from? But he wrote thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands. It's kind of like the old adage, if you give an infinite amount of monkeys typewriters, eventually they're going to type out the entirety of Shakespeare. Sometimes you're just going to get things right. And if you're writing thousands upon thousands upon thousands of things every single day, maybe you're just going to get lucky and get a couple things right.
So let's completely shatter his identity.
Okay.
He predicted, according to people, I'm not even going to say scholars, I'm just going to say people, that Kamala Harris would win the election in 2024.
Did he say Kamala Harris?
For some reason, people are saying that, but that is not true, and so therefore his prophecies are false.
And that's the whole basis for your belief in that he's not the true person.
Yep.
I just like some of the titles of the stuff I'm playing. Nostradamus' worrying prediction.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Can I just make a tangent?
Please.
I really hate
Everybody.
the titles that people are using these days. This is a really worrying subject. This movie would have been perfect except for one thing. I thought this was going to be wonderful, but then this happened. And then they just leave it at that.
Do you know what I
That
hate?
drives me nuts.
When it says Nostradamus 2025, worrying prediction for 2025, and then it's just a history of Nostradamus.
That really, I mean, that's a lot of it. But I just love that it's one of those things that you look at and it's that grabber, but then there's just no content
Clickbait.
to justify the stuff for it. And so now I'm getting to the point where it's like when I see a title like that, I'm like, skip.
Yep. Here, do you want to hear another one that everyone's freaking out about because they're like, oh my gosh, it's going to happen? Is the prophecy that I made, quote unquote, that Harry, the son of dear Charles.
Potter.
No, not Harry Potter.
Oh.
Harry Potter?
Harry, the son of Charles, I think he's like fifth in line for the throne now, will actually become king, not William.
See, and this is how I have to laugh at that. Like, no, he didn't. That was someone who read one of his poems and said, "Oh, that could be Harry."
Now, and they have to realize that
William.
they would literally have to. The people who would have to abdicate is William, all of his kids, and then it would get to Harry.
And I will bet you, and I will even guarantee that same little poem has been translated and
King Henry VIII is going
literally,
to.
it's gone through so many iterations of this is who this means, and this is who it means, and this is who it means, and it's clickbait before there was clickbait. You know what I'm talking about? Nostradamus is really like it's one of those historical people that stirred up people to hysteria, and has, I think, in my opinion, caused more damage to the world because he existed than not.
Now, here's my other thesis of destroying his complete identity.
Yes.
Some believe, and once again,
Yes.
not scholars, just people,
Right.
that his writings are plagiarized.
Oh, it's not even belief. It's straight up. Like, people have proven it time and time again. Like, there's actually a whole white paper that I was reading before I came here where it talked about how it is very easy to go through Nostradamus's writing and see not only like straight up plagiarism, but like full on sections that were just like directly from the Bible. Like, you just take Isaiah and like write it in quasi French and Latin and kind of change the words and then release it to the public, and people are like, "Oh, look how amazing. What writing, the white lamb and the red blood? Who would have ever thought of that?" It's
one of my favorite things is when I was listening to one of the documentaries, their introduction was, he's the most famous prophet of the world. And I'm like, I don't think.
How about Jesus?
I don't
How
think
about-
that's,
how about Moses?
You
How
can
about
even say
Abraham?
Muhammad.
How about Muhammad? Exactly. The one literally that is known as Muhammad, bless
The prophet.
the prophet. God be praised.
No,
You know what I mean? Like,
no. You guys don't understand. Nostradamus, he was the prophet of the modern day 500 years ago.
good for him.
No, but the reason
Good
I bring
for
that up
him.
is they believe that 50% of his prophecies were copied word for word from an unpublished poetry, unpublished book that Christopher Columbus had made, just poems that he thought of while going to America. Uh-huh.
I haven't read that, but that's.
Oh my gosh, Christopher Columbus was a prophet.
It wouldn't surprise me because here is this guy who made his living by selling cures for horrible diseases. The ultimate snake oil salesman happened to get lucky because he's like, I'm going to write an almanac, and it got read by a queen, and she in turn took it as a serious, piece of art and work. And he got famous because of that. If it wasn't for Catherine de Medici, or if he hadn't have written the almanac, we would have never heard of Nostradamus.
No.
There would be none. But now that there is, because it's been put out there in the world, everybody wants to say that Nostradamus and his predictions are, You know, it's always funny to me that it's only after the event happened that we go back and be like, oh, Nostradamus was right. Mm-hmm. You know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Oh, well, yeah, but obviously this.
A great fireball.
A great
from the
fireball.
sky.
Yeah,
Napoleon, an emperor that started out as a soldier, like no other emperor has ever started out as a soldier.
We're coming down hard on Nostradamus. Poor Nostradamus.
I say, hey, Danny, you're the one that's getting us this.
Well, and I think part of the reason that I picked him is because I find him as a fascinating character in time because you don't come across con men often in history.
Oh, I was going to say, like, have you looked outside the door?
No. I mean, like historically speaking, you don't. You know, the snake oil salesman isn't something that comes up in a lot of history, and yet Nostradamus. He is one. Like he really is.
And that's the thing that I was going to bring up is con men usually die because they don't last. They don't make their mark on history. There's been a few con men that have. For example, if you look at Nostradamus' life of he wanted to be a doctor because he did things with potions and different stuff. He was kicked out. He had nothing else to do. He had no direction in life. And so he read a random book probably while he was looking at the stars. And it got famous, and so he BS the rest of it.
Yeah.
If you look at several leaders, that's that's what happens. I even bring up Adolf Hitler. He wanted to be an artist. Kicked out of art school because they didn't like his art. So what did he do? He went and complained in a bar. People liked him complaining. And that took off to where he ended up being.
Yeah.
It was just because he was popular, and it was the same as Nostradamus. Now, am I saying he's Hitler? No. But he
supposedly,
predicted Hitler.
I keep saying supposedly. Supposedly, he predicted Hitler. I can't speak. Oh my gosh.
Hey, I passed it on.
I think something's going on.
Something's in the air.
We need to actually share some of these predictions so we can understand why people might see similarities.
Here we go.
Yep, let's do it.
So, and the hard part is these are coming from places that they wholeheartedly believe in the Nostradamus predictions.
Yes. So they're translated and then probably translated again.
Yes.
From the original or second or third translation.
So here is one. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Where did it go?
Did you know Donald Trump is specifically named in his prophet things?
No.
Yeah, neither did I, because it didn't happen. I was just trying to stall.
That was good. Keep stalling because I lost my page.
Did you know that in his 2025 it says Putin will have a disease?
Oh.
Now that actually is one of the things people are claiming.
No, that actually I did read that one. Okay, here's one from the French Revolution. From the enslaved populace songs, chants, and demands, while princes and lords are held captive in prisons, there will be in future by headless idiots be received as divine prayers. And it's like, oh yeah, that is obviously the French Revolution.
But you could also say that's the Civil War. That's also...
It's also horribly mistranslated. There is no headless in that. There is no held captive. There is no chants and demands. It is added afterward.
And here's the thing. No offense to the French. Yes, they were impoverished, but they weren't necessarily slaves. And so that completely throws that out the window.
Okay, here's another one. The lost thing is discovered hidden for many centuries.
Ark of the Covenant.
Pastor will be celebrated almost as a godlike figure. This is when the moon completes her great cycle. But by other rumors, he shall be dishonored.
Wait, who's going to be celebrated?
So Pasteur, Louis Pasteur, the guy who discovered microbes and microbial decay and figured out that we were getting sick from microbes. Here's the fun thing.
So germ theory guy.
Exactly. Number one, the original writing did not say Pasteur at all.
It probably said pastor.
Didn't even say anything like that.
A priest.
This whole idea of this is when the moon completes her great cycle. What does that even mean?
When it's a full moon.
So anyways.
You guys are so hard on him.
Oh,
wait a second. Okay. everyone pause. We wanted to introduce this podcast again. Usually, Danny and I are not the non-skeptics, and Jake's the most skeptical. Jake has taken the side of the poo head.
Jake,
I'm just being the
loves
devil's advocate against your guys'
Nostradamus.
devil advocacy.
He loves it.
You know what? I watched a thing on Nostradamus like 20 years ago. And I was like, oh, cool. He was probably a prophet in the Bible. And then thought nothing of it until Danny was like, hey, we should do Nostradamus. And I was like, who the heck is that?
Okay, here we go. From the human flock, 9 will be sent away, separated from judgment and counsel. Their fate will be sealed on departure. Kappa, Theta, Lambda, they banish dead air.
So challenger.
Wait a second.
Ready for this?
Ring wraiths.
If you try to arrange letters of Kappa, Theta, and Lambda, that's what they say. Oh, that's showing
It's
the
supposed to,
Thicol or whatever.
the company that was in charge of the rocket.
However, there wasn't 9 people on the Challenger. There was only 7.
That's why I'm saying he predicted
So-
Lords of the Rings. How many men got rings? 9.
Okay, here we go. Here's another one. This is the Princess Diana one. God the last but first, the nickname of Nostradamus of the 90s, takes the goddess of the moon for his day in movement, a frantic wanderer and witness of God's law, in awakening the world's great regions to God's will. I don't even know how the heck,
Wait, that was it?
but that is it.
First off, I don't think Diana was really religious.
I don't know.
And why is Nostradamus the one saving her or whatever?
I don't know.
In the
these are all like
90s.
debunked ones. Oh, here's some coming soon. Careful.
Coming soon.
Another big earthquake. The
Twaddling
sloping
along.
park. Great calamity through the lands of the West and the Lombardy. The fire in the ship. Plague and captivity. Mercury in Sagittarius. Saturn fading. That means that there's going to be...
Saturn's going to blow up.
Yep. So
Aliens.
here's my favorite
And
thing.
Mercury.
What's supposed to happen? This is a very old article. This is why I love this stuff. This great earthquake is going to happen. This is what it says. The next time that Mercury will be in Sagittarius, it is quoted that the entirety of the new world will be destroyed by this great earthquake on November 25th, 2015.
Oh, crap.
Who wrote that? I want to write him a
We're
letter.
already dead.
We're already dead. So, like I said before, I decided to plug in a bunch of Nostradamus in AI.
I'm excited.
As well, you should be. It's kind of fun.
Is there a twaddling along on a talk show? 3 brothers make air fly.
No. What I did is I wanted AI to rewrite
Some of his-
Nostradamus's predictions to predict famous people. Okay?
Nice.
And I want you guys from these AI included Nostradamus
to guess who it is.
to guess who it is. Here we go.
Okay.
The western lands where shadows dance on screen, 3 figures shall rise, bound by sticking slaps of fate. Their cries sharp and strange, a perpetual din unveiling mirth from chaos, sealing their enduring state.
3 Stooges.
Exactly. Well done, Jake.
Thank you.
See, Jake
Wow.
is a Nostradamus guy.
Mine was like, is he talking about like John Wayne and 2 other guys?
Okay. From the
10 seconds.
halls of ancient learning, a tall, capricious spirit
Merlin.
appears. He shall journey through many nights, a jester in a changing court. His wit sharpened and resand will pierce the awkward veil of what is known, leaving behind a legacy of mirth, both absurd and deeply unknowing.
Robin Williams?
Nope.
Oh.
Is it a real person?
It is a real
A
person.
tall person. Ian McClellan.
It is a tall person. I will read just a couple things.
A Conan O'Brien.
There you go.
'Cause he's the
Conan
knight.
O'Brien.
Because he's a night talk show.
Capricious also means red-haired.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, okay, here we go. This one, I don't get this one, but it's what came up. Okay. From the streets of grit, a silent strength shall rise. His visage marked, his voice a weathered sound, one-sided. Through trials of fists and tigers, he'll reach the skies. Be he Roman and Sicilian by blood, upon the 7th seal he rots.
Kanye West.
No,
Dang it.
So I'm guessing it's an action star.
it is an action star.
Jackie Chan.
Is it? Well, is it? Let me. It's going to be 20 questions. Ready? Is it someone that only recently became an action star?
No, he's been an action star for a long time.
Tom Cruise.
Let me read it one more time. From the streets of grit, a silent strength shall rise, whatever. His visage marked, his voice a weathered sounded, one-sided. Through trials of fists and tigers, he'll reach the skies.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Is this? What's his name? Oh my gosh, Bruce Lee.
Nope. Sylvester Stallone.
Do you know what?
Eye of the
Okay.
Tiger and, my
okay.
gosh.
That's actually really sad that we didn't get that.
Okay, now this one.
Isn't it funny that I said Jackie
This
Chan?
one, when I put it in,
Threw me off.
it shocked me how horrible this one came out, because it came out really, really dark for who the character is. Okay, you ready for this?
Robin Williams.
From a void of creation, a vermin form was wrought. His voice, a clear call, being led by pipers to flocks to verdant fields. A golden calf worshipped, by multitudes diligently sought. His image expands. The new covenant in God it wields.
Walt Disney.
You're getting really close.
I was thinking
This is
Mickey
a-
Mouse because the Piper.
That is 100% who it is.
It's
It
Mickey
is
Mouse?
Mickey Mouse. AI hates
I
Mickey
wouldn't
Mouse.
even say.
I was thinking with the Pied Piper. I was like,
That was
okay,
good. That
following
was really
the
good.
Piper, but
Okay,
that's crazy.
last one.
I would have gotten that one.
From endless cycle of hearth, a man of simple hunger comes forth. His desires an endless wellspring, reflecting all common flaws. He shall stumble through ages, a jester of fallen world, yet by grace or cosmic jest always finds his way back to the dawn. I will give you a hint. This is a fictional character.
Fictional?
A fictional character.
This is fictional character in a lot of movies,
Not in a lot of movies.
TV show.
Yes.
Read it again. Joker.
From the endless cycle of the hearth, a man of simple hunger comes forth. His desires an endless wellspring, reflecting all common flaws. He shall stumble through the ages, a jester in a fallen world.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yet by grace, a cosmic jest always finds his way back to the dawn. I also have to laugh because AI was a lot more nicer to this character than
Isn't
Mickey
that
Mouse.
Winnie the Pooh?
No, not Winnie the Pooh.
Christopher Robin.
I think the keywords in this one are hunger,
So he's hungry.
common flaws, and stumbling through ages. So stumbling through ages, he's been around for a long time, has a lot of common flaws, and is very hungry.
Death. Grim Reaper.
Josh, you need to stop saying stuff because
Sorry.
you're throwing me off.
Come on, Josh.
Sorry.
Joshua.
So hungry.
Yes.
What were the other ones?
Hungry,
Through the
flawed,
ages.
and he's been around for a while. Come on.
Is it a cartoon?
It is a cartoon. I will give you that one. You can 20 questions if you want.
Is he bald?
He is bald.
Does he eat spinach?
He does not eat spinach.
Okay.
He's bald?
He is bald.
Hmm.
Very, very bald.
Very, very bald.
Is it Homer Simpson?
It is Homer Simpson.
He's only been around since the 80s.
I
When
would've-
we say a long time,
Well,
I'm thinking like early
I do
1900s.
apologize.
I would never have guessed that unless if you said he was bald.
Yeah.
I have no I have no
Yeah.
attachment.
The flaws now suddenly makes a lot more sense. So
What it comes down to is I'm gonna do my final thoughts now because we're at that time. I think that there is plenty of joy and belief in the world to go around. And I don't think that we need to have a reason to fear what is happening in the future. I think there's plenty of fear to be had right now also. But I think that there's a lot of things that we can rejoice in, that we can have happiness in, that we can find mirth and merriment, I think is what the term is. And so the people that are so obsessed with Nostradamus are those kind of people that I think are always worried about what's coming next instead of living in the moment. And I don't think that's a way to live. I think the best thing that you can do is find the happiness right now and turn off Nostradamus forever and ignore everything that he's ever said. And even if he got lucky 5 out of 60,000 times, does not make him a prognosticator. It doesn't make him a great prophet. It doesn't make him a seer. He is not bringing you happiness. And I picked Nostradamus, and I am just crapping all over him, aren't I?
You have feelings.
Wait. I just found one more of his that we need to read.
Let's do it.
This one is quatrain 14.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Sorry, hold on. I need to compose myself.
Come on, Josh.
From voices born on crackling silver stream, 3 jesters twaddle along in the midnight air. Their babble bursts both ridicule and dream. A cult shall rise from nonsense none would dare.
I love it.
Oh crap! We're gonna have a cult.
We're gonna have a cult.
Nostradamus was right the whole time. I take everything back.
Okay, so this is the interpretation. That was fake, by the way. That was about
was it? No.
twaddling along.
Oh man, I was really
It
hoping.
says, voices born on crackling silver stream alludes to podcast audio. 3 jesters twaddle along refers to the hosts who banter and joke at length. Babble bursts both ridicule and dream suggests that their content may seem trivial. It resonates with listeners in unexpected ways.
Trivial?
A cult shall rise hints at the potential and oddly devoted fan base or cultural movement sparked from what seems absurdity.
So for all of our fans out there, you are, I guess, odd according to Nostradamus.
There you go.
Another reason to hate him. Josh, final words from you.
Final thoughts. I think Nostradamus was just a man created by his time. I think he was striving for popularity, and he found a way to be able to do it and BS'd his way through it, and somehow we're still talking about him.
Jake, final words from you.
I thought Nostradamus always dressed in a blue robe with stars on him and had a pointy hat. Because
Disney.
all throughout my life, whenever they would talk about Nostradamus, it always seemed like he was dressed like a wizard. So I was really confused when I looked him up and he had a black hat with a little ball on the top.
So
And-
you saw him as the wizard from like Fantasia.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like when I looked up, and then he had his telescope that, like, in the thing was like gigantic.
Yeah.
And it actually was like probably like itty bitty,
It was just a little tiny one.
little tiny thing. So like seeing that just really dampened my spirits. I didn't know how to feel.
Sorry, Jake.
No, and it just was one of those things where I was hopeful that it was going to be better, but it just wasn't.
I love
And you guys have just chewed on him this whole time, and I just
we
feel
really have.
That's because in the Bible it says, beware of false prophets. That's right. Do you hear that, everyone?
Good job, Josh.
Josh didn't even finish.
Josh
Just say,
didn't even
Did you
finish.
hear that, everyone? As he opens his mouth to say,
No, and I think this obviously is a very serious twaddling along episode because I really wanted to find kind of
Daddy wanted to tear people down that believed in this.
no.
How dare you?
Actually, when I started, I really actually wanted to try to find something fun and funny about Nostradamus. Like I really did. I thought, oh, this would be a fun one. Nostradamus. Everybody's like, woo. But the more I read about the guy, I was just like, oh, he's a scumbag.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is why
Scumbag.
this is why we're going to end this podcast now on a happy note.
On a happy note,
And that is, I'm not picking the topic next week. So that means it will be a fun one.
Ooh,
Who is picking? Jake, it's
I
you.
am the one that has to pick the fun one. No pressure.
The paranormal too.
I do.
Do you have something picked out yet?
I haven't officially picked one out. I've had ideas.
Oh, I like it.
I know that we've talked a lot about wanting to do Bigfoot, but I kind of want to leave that to you because you know a lot more about that than I do.
love Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
But I don't know. I'm trying to decide because we still have a lot. We didn't hit on like half of the Filipino ones.
No.
I know it would be fun, but there's also some other ones in Asia that are just terrifying and also make me chuckle. So
The best kind. Chuckling and terrifying.
I need to bring my wife on one of these times so she can
It would
talk
be
about
fun.
the Japanese ones.
Well, with that, everybody, thank you for joining us and twaddling along this week as we just decimated, just tore Nostradamus apart.
Wait, keep talking.
We are going to be continuing, obviously.
You do a good team. Keep it up.
Okay, are you ready?
I completely lost my train of thought halfway through that sentence where I was like, I have no idea where this is going. I need to find something.
Okay.
We are going to more than likely continue. So please continue to join us on the Twaddling Along Podcast, wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Everyone, this is Nostradamus' prophecy about next week's podcast. In the week when sun and shadow bind, three voices twaddle through the echoes of fear. The mask of mirth with riddle the mind as whispers of phobia draw closely near. Sorry, Danny, I threw your train off so bad.
It was, you said that, and it was like the brain went blank.
We spent an hour and a half talking, and Danny's brain was done. Josh threw it off.
Keep talking. Well, I guess we're continuing.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Nostradamus.
I don't see anything.